Right, 2016, paper 1, question 5. The first one here is looking at Pythagoras. Now you kind of know, once you see a right angle triangle, it's either going to be Pythagoras or sine, cos, tan, silly old Harry, whatever. So find the value of x. What Pythagoras says, the hypotenuse squared is equal to the opposite squared and the adjacent squared. So you might have said a squared is equal to b squared plus c squared, or the largest side squared, the highest number squared, is equal to these other two sides squared added together. So here the hypotenuse is 5x minus 9. Square that. And the other two sides squareds added together. And just be careful. Make sure you put your brackets around it, because if you don't put the brackets around your 4x, I guarantee you a lot of you should just write 4x squared. So square this out. Just remember, something squared means multiply by itself. So take your time in that. You know, split up your bracket if you need. Do it that way. No rush. Or some people might say square the first. Multiply the two together. 5 9s are 45 and double it. And square the last. But don't be forcing yourself into a formula that you're not comfortable with. Same here, write out the bracket twice if you wish. X minus 1 times x minus 1. And then work your way through that. Or again, square the first. Multiply the two together, minus 1x and double it. Minus 2x, square the last. And here, square that term, 16x squared. If you don't have your brackets, don't forget to square the 4. In fact, tidy that up now. Maybe all terms to the left hand side. And you can see it's starting to look like the old favourite, the quadratic. Plus 2x. 25. And add your like terms. 24 minus 16 is 8x squared. Minus 90 plus 2 is minus 88. Kind of speaking quietly here because his baby's sleeping. 81. That is plus 80. Now you could work with this one, or you could simplify it all down. You can kind of see there relatively easily. You could divide by 8. And you get x squared minus 11x plus 10 is equal to 0. And then whatever way you do your quadratic, open up your brackets, 10, 1, minus, minus, and let each factor equal to 0. So there's our two answers. Now how many answers did I ask for? Find the value of x. So there's only one value of x. Now if you start horsing in each of these values, it's obvious enough you cannot use this one. Because if you go 1 minus 1, you're left with 0. You can't have 0 as the length of a side. Also here, it's going to be 5 minus 9, which is minus 4. Doesn't work. So this is your only answer. This is the one you ignore. Now, next bit. Verify your answer. The lengths of the sides of the triangle form a Pythagorean triple. Now, even if you didn't know how to use Pythagoras at the start, this is a big indication now. Go back up, use Pythagoras. So in your right angle triangle, you're just going to horse in each of these, horse in 10 to each of these terms. And again, your hypotenuse always starts off, so your h squared is equal to o squared plus a squared. H, your hypotenuse, is 5x minus 9. As your other two sides squareds added together. This is what we did. Up in the top line up here. Now fill in x equal to 10. So 5 times 10 is 50, minus 1 is 41 squared is equal to 10 minus 1 squared, 9 squared plus 4 tens, 40 squared. Now if this is right, both sides should be equal. So 41 squared, 1681 is equal to 81 plus 1600. 1681 is equal to 1681. Therefore, we're good. You know. Now, we'll batter on through quickly here. Next boy. Show that this function is an injective function. Now, injective function means for each one input, injective or one-to-one, for one input, you get one output. Now, you could keep throwing in numbers, but it'll take you a lifetime to not actually prove it. There's another thing for injective function, is that horizontal line test. If you look back in your notes, that's mentioned. Now, this is actually going to be correct, because if you graph this, it's a linear function. You're going to have a straight line, horizontal line will cut it at most once. So if you want it, you could plot that, do your usual wee thing, mode, 3 table, what have you got, 3x minus 2, but you should know the highest power is x. The highest power of x is 1. It's a straight line function. So say you go from minus 4 to 4, steps of 1. There's my values, minus 4, minus 14. No point doing all of these. Minus 3, minus 11, say, 2, minus 8, so on. Where does it cut the axis? And at 1, 1, it goes on up. So you get roughly, there's my function. There. So a horizontal line will cut at most once. Therefore, is injective. So any linear function, all linear functions we'll put in, are injective. And as I was saying, if you horsed in individual terms or your domain, you'll always get a different range or output. For each input, you get one output. So if I put in minus 4, there I got minus 14. If I put in minus 3, I get minus 11, and it's an increasing function. And the last one here, given that this is this, find the formula for the inverse, f to the minus 1, and show your work. So what we always did, replace your f of x with your y. And now write in terms of x, so that means get x on its own. So y plus 2 is equal to 3x, and then divide by your 3. And then for your inverse, replace your y with your x. And if you think about that, that is correct. Here we say multiply a number by 3 and subtract 2. Inverse just means the opposite. So instead of multiplying a number and subtracting 2, you're adding 2 and dividing by 3. So multiply a number by 3, here we divided by 3. Subtract 2, here we added on 2. And that way we're correct.